friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And yes, this is a t-shirt that somebody sent me, one of my followers, and I want to say thank you for that. It's great. So it's got my tagline on there and I love it. So anyway, I'm here today for another Monday this and that video. For those of you who are new, this is just a weekly vlog that I do. Since all my other videos, or most of my other videos, are 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks out, by the time you see them, this is that one day in the week that I can have one that's goes up within 3 days of shooting it, and so I can talk about more current things that are going on and keep you updated on that. So let's start off with the quilt blocks I got in this week. And if you don't know what this is about, I have a video I did a few months back about the Rain Country subscriber collaboration crazy quilt. And so people from all over are sending me in their handmade quilt squares and 10-inch. But anyway, I'll link to that video down below. So anyway, this one here, look how cute that is. It is a jar of canned blueberries, and it says God is good all the time with the date and the name by Wendy there. So that's neat. And so I really like that when people take time to put their name or channel name in there, or their farm, homestead name, whatever it is you want. If you don't want to, that's fine too. And if you don't want to be a part or you can't, so don't worry about it. I got all kinds of collaborations going on right now, and I'll be talking about one of those here in just a minute. And here is the other beautiful square I got in. So isn't that neat? I'm loving all these squares I'm getting. So I'm getting closer to getting enough squares. So the other collaboration is the garden collaboration, and these are photo collaborations. Trying to get one out once every month or every other month. We've done 2 so far. So we had the craft collaboration where people sent in photos of things that they created based on my sewing and crochet videos. So we put the photos together and did a video on that, made a little slideshow. So I'll link to the playlist down below so you can see at least the 2 videos we have out so far. And then the one that just came out more recently was the fermenting collaboration. And then again, these are all projects that people did based on my instructional videos on how to ferment, how to make vinegars, how to make wines, how to make kimchi, so on and so forth. And so if you missed these collaborations, by the way, this year, I'll be doing these ones again next year. I'll definitely be doing the craft one, the fermenting one, and the garden one, which is the next one. So garden photos from this year, from 2022, you're going to send them to me at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com. I'd like this to be the final week. So if you're wanting to participate, try to get your photos in to me by the end of this week, which will be October 7th. So that's the last day, it's the cutoff day for you to get your garden photos in. Try to get good quality photos. If the photos are too blurry or hard to see, I'm likely not to use them. So we want good quality photos in there. You can send just 1 photo, up to 3 photos. I'm not going to use more than 3 photos per person because I'm getting so many more people involved in this that I don't want to use more than 3 photos per person. Otherwise the video can be way too long. Okay, then the other thing I want to talk about is Rumble. So I'm having a lot of problems with our internet right now. So I'm going to be taking a break from uploading my videos to Rumble for I don't know how long. It's going to depend on how things go. So there's 2 things happening. My internet is getting worse and worse all the time. And yes, we're considering Starlink. I've had some real reservations about it, but I just talked to someone today and found out my neighbors right next door have Starlink and they love it. And the lady I talked to just got Starlink and she loves it. She says it's very fast. But I still have my reservations, and please feel free to share, any of you who are using Starlink, what you think about it. Apparently there's several people here in my area that have it and say it works great. One of my issues with it is it's going to cost us $700 just for the equipment, and then it's $110 a month for the service, which I understand, but that's almost twice what we're paying now. But then again, if I could get twice as much stuff done or more than what I can do now, then maybe it would be worth it, and it would be a tax write-off for. So, you know, there's that to consider. It's just, I get it. But really, right now, my upload speeds it's terrible. I'm counting my upload speeds in kilobytes. And so when it's doing good right now, it's 100 kilobytes. per second. That's terrible. That's terrible. As such, it takes me all day to upload a video that's 15 to 25 minutes. If it's maybe 10 minutes, it can take 5 hours. That's ridiculous. It used to only take 2 hours, which for some people I know that's even a very long time because it's always been slow here, but now it's even slower. Now the problem I'm having with Rumble coinciding with that is that with Rumble, whenever there's any kind of interruption in the service as a video is uploading, it just comes to a complete stop and I have to start the upload all over again. And that can happen at any time during the upload. So if I get to 99%, which has happened, I think, or at least at 98, I got to 98%, had some kind of interruption. I might not even notice an interruption on anything else we're doing, but it can be the slightest interruption. The upload will stop. And then I have to start it all over again. And I might have been doing that for 5-6 hours. Then I have to start that 5-6 hour upload all over again. And it's getting to be too time consuming, especially considering I'm only making a few cents a day on Rumble. And that time I'm pouring in to keep having to start uploads. There was one video I had to restart, I had to start 5 times before I was finally able to get it to finish. And it's horribly frustrating. Where with YouTube, if there's an interruption, you never notice because YouTube will always start the upload where it left off. Even if I have to restart my computer for some reason and I go back into YouTube, I can get the video to start right where it left off no matter what percentage it was at. So I didn't lose any of that upload. If during this time that I'm not going to be putting the regular videos up on Rumble, if I do happen to shoot a Rumble only video, I'll still do that. So for those who are interested, my Rumble link should, well, at least most of my videos, my more current videos, the link to our Rumble channel should be down below. But I'm going to put together a list of Rumble only videos I have. Now, I have 2 that are Rumble only, the whole complete video. And then I have like maybe 3 others where I had to edit out a section of that video to put here on YouTube, but left it in the original full-length video and then put that video over on Rumble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a list of those links and then give you the link to that down below if you're curious of what those videos are, because there was one I created specifically just for Rumble because it had to do with the COVID, EBV, and cancer connection and the studies that I did. And when I say studies, I'm talking about National Institutes of Health.gov, so PubMed, PMC, articles like that, and also scientific and other medical-based websites, and compiled the information together. So I'm not just letting you know that for those people who don't, I don't trust all .gov websites, but I also don't trust all natural-based websites because they're not always accurate either. You got to compile all your information. So I just want people to know, if you're curious about that video and you're probably assuming it's based on conspiracy theory, well, no, it's actually based on facts that I compiled together, though I did give my own thoughts on it and made sure that I made it clear that these are my thoughts. It doesn't mean they're actual facts. So I try to be very clear and honest about that because there's too many lies coming from both sides. You get down certain people that claim to tell the truth, and a lot of those people aren't telling you the truth either. They might have some truth, just like your mainstream media will have some truth, but there's also a lot of lie mixed in there. That's why they call it programming, remember? Just wanted to give you guys an update on it who are following me on Rumble. If you don't see regular videos coming out, you will for the next couple weeks at least, and then after that, you probably won't. So until I can figure out something with our internet where I can get better speeds and get those videos uploaded with no problem, or at least Rumble changes things so that the video will start where it left off if there's any interruption. Anyway, let's get to that vinegar. That was the thing I think I'm going to put in the title, is the rosemary vinegar. So right here I have, this is a combination of nasturtium and rosemary vinegar. Now I made this mostly for my hair, but this vinegar here has a wonderful smell and flavor that would also be great for using for salad dressings, stir fries, and more. Anything that you would like to have that rosemary flavor in, this would be a great one for that. So I'm going to get another one started. So one of the things I wanted to say that I keep forgetting to say when I talk about my nasturtium vinegar that I make for my hair, so I'm making it out of nasturtium flowers. And you can use the leaves too, but in this, anything is related to my hair, I use the flowers. I save the leaves for a natural antibiotic. But anyway, the flowers, when you start fermenting them to make vinegar, they have a smell. They're the only thing I ferment and make vinegar out of that smells like this. It will smell a lot like sulfur. It might not be very pleasant through almost the whole process until it gets to the vinegar point and it's totally vinegar, then it just smells like vinegar. So, but if you want to make that smell better, combine that with rosemary, which has a nice strong smell that will cover that up. And it's also very good for your hair as well. So rosemary is great for hair growth. Now I have a video I did about the benefits of rosemary, and please go check that out. I'll be putting it in the description box down below. And I also have an old one on nasturtiums and their benefits. That one's a few years old. And I also have a whole playlist that last I looked has 67 videos in it where I do herb profiles. And I have lots more to still do. So if you're interested in the full playlist, I'll also put that down below, but just to make it quick and easy for you, so you don't have to go searching through the playlist to find specifically the rosemary and nasturtium, I'll make sure that those are in the description box so you can go right to it. And then the other thing I'll link you to is my last video I did, my most thorough one I have on making vinegar. But I'll cover a couple things here. Whenever I'm doing an herbal vinegar, I always use, for a half gallon, I'll use about a half cup of sugar in there. And yes, it must be sugar. It can't be a sugar replacement like stevia or monk fruit. Not that you can't add those, but if you don't have a sugar, all those will do is make the vinegar you're trying to make taste sweet, and it will keep that sweet flavor all the way through. But when you're using sugar, the sugar gets eaten up and it gets converted to alcohol, which gets converted to vinegar, so acetic acid. So it goes from being sweet to sour. So there's no shouldn't be any sugar left in it in the end. You have to have that sugar to get that vinegar. It's very important. So whenever I'm doing an herbal based one, I always add a half cup of sugar. You can add a little bit more. The more sugar you add, the stronger it will get. But if you put too much sugar in at once, you can actually prevent it from fermenting. And then if I'm using fruits, especially very sweet fruits like pineapple, I'll use about a quarter cup of sugar. And it will also depend on the amount of fruit I'm putting in there. And if the fruit is like berries and they're not super sweet, don't have a lot of sugar content, then I might use I'll use over a quarter cup, maybe a third cup of sugar in that case. So I just kind of tailor it according to how sweet, how much natural sugar is already in whatever it is I'm using. So herbs have very little to no sugar in them, so I do add a half cup. Got my water, my sugar, my herbs, put a cloth over it, let it sit for 30 days, and stirring with something like, I usually use a chopstick to stir it every day. That'll keep the mold from forming on top, so you don't have to spend money on expensive weights. That also prevent the oxygen from getting in there, that help it to turn to vinegar. So it needs the oxygen exposure to get vinegar. So you got to keep a cloth or a coffee filter, something over it during the whole fermenting process. Okay, so more tomatoes still coming in, and thankfully this is the first year in a long time where we've had a very short growing season, where our true summer didn't start until very late, putting everything way behind. This is the first one I've seen in a long time where the summer is drawing out later in the season, as we keep hoping and praying it will do every year, instead of just being cut short. So thankfully that has been going on. We're having a nice beautiful day again today. So I'm still able to get the tomatoes to ripen up by picking them as soon as they get their first blush and bringing them in here so that more energy can keep going into the green tomatoes on the vine. We're still getting plenty of cucumbers. I got a little pile of them back here. They're doing great. I was afraid we weren't going to get but maybe a couple of cucumbers. So those are still coming in. Sadly, I've only got one pumpkin this year. It's a bummer, but here's the deal. One of the reasons we prepare and put up extra, why we have it, is so that if a year like this happens where a certain crop just either totally fails or doesn't give you enough, you've got something to fall back on, because I have plenty of pumpkin from years past. I always make sure I have excess. I like to grow a lot of pumpkin, even though we don't go through that much, just for years like this. And that one pumpkin I've got out there, I grow pie pumpkins, the little small ones like this, and that's enough to make 2 pumpkin pies out of. And possibly with some extra left over that I can dehydrate and use as flavorings and add to cookies and whatever I want to make. And by the way, if you're interested in my dehydrating pumpkin and squash video and what you can, the many uses of that dehydrated pumpkin powder, I'll link to that video down below. Last thing I want to cover before I go, I'm coming back to the product thing. The very best place to contact me is email only. Do not use any other social media. You can comment on YouTube, but if it's an important question, I may not see it. And if you don't get an answer from me in the comments, email me that question. If you don't get an answer within 24 hours, that is. I mean, don't, wait an hour, because I'm not on there all day reading comments. Then go ahead and send me the email to raincountryhomestead@gmail.com, and that you'll know I will see. So that, and also that is where you'll be able to get on the product mailing list, so I can let you know what we're still selling, since my Etsy store is closed down now, and I'm just done with them anyway, and I'm actually glad to be free of them. And though we had a real slow week that first week after shutting down, things have picked up and we're doing good. Obviously, it's not the same quantity we're shipping out every day like we used to, but it's fine, because that was getting exhausting, because some days I would be wrapping packages for 2 hours in the morning. And it's nice to not have so much to worry about in the morning, and that way I can put more of my attention into making skirts. So I'm right now working on the 5th skirt that I started since I started getting back into skirt making. Or no, 6th skirt, and then I have more that I'm cutting out and getting ready. And right now I'm basing it off of the fabrics I currently have, trying to limit buying any more fabrics right now until I can work through a lot of what I already have stocked up, because I have a good pile of fabrics. So at this time, I'm not taking specific custom orders for colors and stuff. I'm just going to be creative with what I have and then try to get those sold. And once I finally get my stockpile down, then maybe I'll start doing some custom orders if people are wanting some specific color blends that I don't have fabrics for. And if you've already signed up and after 48 hours of sending me that email, you have not received a product list from me, one of 2 things happened. You either emailed me from your carrier's email, your phone carrier's email, and that was the email I saved. You need to email me from the address you want me to save. Make sure that you do that, because that's what's going to get saved. And then also make sure you're checking your spam folder. It could be that I'm sending you the product list, but it's ending up in your spam folder. So make sure that you do that. So anyway, don't forget to check out the videos I'll be linking to in the description box down below. Click on either show more in all caps if you're on a computer. If you're on a smart device, most likely it'll be an arrow of some kind over here, or even the word more. You'll touch over here to open that description box to find the links I'll be putting in there. And that way you can see the videos on how to do the vinegar and so on and so forth. I'll even put my winemaking playlist in there if you're interested in that. And I also have a video on how to make mead. And also be watching for those other videos yet to come that I mentioned today. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.